All right, today we're going to dive into the new rules of the music business. And trust me, it's a world where selling songs, that's kind of the last thing on anyone's mind. So let's get right into it.
Okay, let's just start with a number. $20 million. That's how much Travis Scott made from a single 9-minute concert. And get this, it was a virtual concert inside the video game Fortnite. I mean, that's more money than most musicians will ever see in their entire careers. But here's the real kicker, the part that's kind of wild. That 20 million bucks, it had almost nothing to do with selling his actual music. So, how is that even possible? Well, the answer to that question pulls back the curtain on this massive, seismic shift in how the entire music industry works now. To really get a grip on this new reality, we have to look at what it replaced. We've got to rewind and go back to the exact moment the old music industry, well, it just completely fell apart. And when I say fell apart, I mean it was dramatic. Just look at this. Back in 1999, the industry was raking in $14 billion just from CD sales. Fast forward 20 years, and that number just plummeted. We're talking down to just $1 billion. The whole financial foundation of the business, poof, gone. Now, you might be thinking, what about streaming? That was supposed to be the savior, right? Well, for a lot of artists, it actually made things worse. 1 million streams sounds huge, doesn't it? But the payout from that, it barely covers the rent. As your main source of income, it's just not sustainable. Not at all. So the industry was at a crossroads. They had two choices, really. Die or evolve. And they chose to evolve. But they did it in this genius way that I don't think anyone saw coming. They figured out, hey, if we can't sell the music itself anymore, what if we use the music to sell everything else? The music, it literally became the commercial. Let's take a perfect example. Dr. Dre. He sold his legendary music catalog for a crazy $200 million. An amazing number, right? But he sold his Beats headphone company for $3 billion. You see the difference? The music was basically the advertisement for the real business. And once you see this model, you see it everywhere. Look at Rihanna. She built a billion-dollar makeup empire and hasn't released an album since 2016. Diddy's not just selling liquor, he's selling success in a bottle. And it's not just the legends. Even newer artists like Sabrina Carpenter are getting paid to have an espresso-flavored ice cream. The modern musician, they're an entrepreneur first, musician second. Okay, so we've established that artists are selling a brand now. And the first, most obvious way they do this? Merchandise. But hold on, we're not just talking about your standard band t-shirt here. Let's just break down the journey of a hoodie, for example. To make a plain old hoodie, it might cost, what, $5? The label buys it for $20. They slap a cool logo on it, and suddenly, it's an $80 product. And if they call it a limited edition drop, forget about it, that could be $200. See, they're not really selling clothes. They're selling exclusivity. They're selling an experience. So you're probably wondering, how do the record labels make sure they get a piece of all this new action? Well, it's something called a 360 deal. Basically, it's a contract that says the label gets a percentage of everything an artist earns. Not just music. We're talking merch, touring, brand deals, you name it. They get a slice of the entire pie. Okay, so that's the physical stuff. But now we get to the next level of the strategy. And this is where it gets really interesting. They started to monetize something that you can't even hold in your hands. The feeling of intimacy. Yeah, they literally started selling a fake friendship. Just look at the price they put on connection. A VIP package for Justin Bieber could set you back $2,000. Taylor Swift fans have paid up to $800 just for the privilege of buying merch before anyone else. It's so clear what's happening. They've figured out how to put a price tag on that feeling of being close to your favorite star. There's actually a psychological term for what's driving all this. It's called a parasocial relationship. You've probably felt it. It's that one-sided emotional connection where you feel like you really truly know a celebrity. But of course, they have no idea who you are. It's an incredibly powerful illusion, and, as it turns out, a very profitable one. So you see, the business really isn't about the music anymore. It's about selling a lifestyle and making people feel connected to that lifestyle. Drake is an absolute master of this. One album, he's got you in your feelings, heartbroken. The next album drops, and suddenly you feel like a mob boss. He can just switch up these personas, and because of that powerful parasocial bond, his fans are right there with him for the ride. Okay, and all of this, the merch, the fake friendships, it all leads us to the final, most important piece of the puzzle, This is the real core of the new business model. Section 4, you are the product. Think about it. For decades, the entire model was built on selling things to the fans. CDs, concert tickets, t-shirts. But that's not where the real money is anymore. No, the real money today is in selling the fans to brands. Your attention, your loyalty as a fan, that has become the single most valuable commodity there is. So in this whole new ecosystem, everybody's role has changed. The artist, they're basically the middleman. The label, they're the bank, funding the whole operation. The brand, they're the buyer. And you, the fan, you're the investment. It's your attention that's being packaged up and sold. And once you see it this way, you can't unsee it. Suddenly, every song becomes a potential product placement. Every music video is basically a commercial or a fashion show. Every tour is just another opportunity to sell more hoodies. The art and the commerce, they're not separate things anymore. They've totally merged. So I know what you're thinking. Is this all bad? Is this some kind of evil corporate plot to manipulate everyone? Well, not necessarily. The point here isn't to condemn it. It's just to understand the game that's being played. This is what people call the attention economy. And honestly, we all participate in it every single day when we're curating our own personal brands on Instagram or LinkedIn. The music industry didn't invent this game. They just got really, really good at it first. And that really leaves us with one last kind of provocative question to think about. In a world where everything we post is content and every single one of us is basically our own little media company, you've got to ask yourself, what are you selling?